When you hear the name Porsche, you probably think you know the story, right? Iconic sports cars, a legendary racing history, that classic German engineering. But the real story, well, it's so much more than that. It's a wild tale of near bankruptcy, a massive financial gamble that almost broke the stock market, and a series of incredible revolutions that kept redefining the company. All right, let's get into this amazing history of survival, risk, and pure revolution. Just look at this number for a second. 1,000 euros. That was the price of a single share of Volkswagen back in October 2008. And yes, that's right in the middle of the worst financial crisis in modern memory. For one brief, absolutely wild moment, it made VW the most valuable company on the entire planet. And the company that caused all this chaos? It wasn't some giant bank. It was a small sports car maker from Stuttgart.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How on earth did a small, niche sports car company pull this off during the biggest financial meltdown in history? The answer to that question, well, it tells you everything you need to know about what makes Porsche, Porsche. It's about audacity, an engineering-first mindset, and just a relentless, stubborn will to survive.
To really get how they did it, we have to go way back, all the way back to their pretty unexpected beginning. Because you see, Porsche didn't even start out making cars. Now check out this timeline. It all starts in 1931, when Ferdinand Porsche founded an engineering consultancy firm. His really big break came in 1934, when he got a contract to design a people's car, which of course became the legendary Volkswagen Beetle. It wasn't until 1948, long after the war, that the very first car with the Porsche name on it, the 356, was hand-built in a sawmill of all places, using leftover parts from the Beetle. So why start building their own car? This quote from Ferdinand's son, Ferry Porsche, just says it all. In the beginning, I looked around and could not find the car I dreamed of driving, so I decided to build it myself. You see, it wasn't some grand business plan. It was just personal passion. That's what turned a small engineering office into one of the most famous car brands in the world. And this new car company would go on to build its entire identity on two key things. One absolutely iconic road car, and complete and utter dominance on the racetrack. And here it is. In 1964, the Porsche 911 was born. With that strange but perfect rear engine layout and a silhouette you could recognize from a mile away, it became the very soul of the brand. I mean, it's a design so good, it's been in production for over 60 years. This car wasn't just their moneymaker, it was their identity. And they took that identity to the track. This number, 19, represents Porsche's overall victories at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. That's the toughest endurance race in the world. And 19 wins is more than any other manufacturer in history. This wasn't just about collecting trophies. This was their R&D lab, proving the old motorsports saying, win on Sunday, sell on Monday. But here's the twist. Even with all this success, the company was about to face its darkest hour. This next part is all about the crisis that nearly killed Porsche and the revolution that saved it. Just look at this chart. It's a bloodbath. Between 1986 and 1993, sales just fell off a cliff, from over 50,000 cars a year down to just 14,000. That is a 70% drop. The company was hemorrhaging money and was literally on the verge of being sold off or just disappearing completely. So what do you do when you're on the brink? The new CEO, Wendelin Wiedeking, he made a totally radical move. He decided to bring in consultants from Toyota to teach his proud German engineers about Japanese lean manufacturing. Now, in the German auto industry at the time, this was basically heresy. It was like admitting you weren't the best anymore. But you can't argue with the results. Just look at this transformation. The time it took to build a 911 was cut in half, from 120 hours down to 60. Defects per car dropped by 50%. And their parts inventory went from sitting on shelves for almost a month to just one day. This didn't just save Porsche, it made them the most profitable car company in the world. So they're back from the dead, wildly profitable. What's next? Well, now it was time for some truly massive billion-dollar gambles that would either secure their future or destroy everything they had just rebuilt. The first big bet was the Cayenne, an SUV from Porsche. The purists, they were furious. They thought the brand was ruined. But look at this chart. Within just a few years, the Cayenne made up half of all their sales. It was a controversial move, for sure, but it was absolutely brilliant. The profits from this one car funded the development of all the sports cars that came after it. And that brings us right back to that €1,000 share price.
So how'd they do it? It was basically a three-step financial ambush. First, Porsche secretly started buying up options on Volkswagen stock. Then, out of nowhere, they announced they controlled 74.1% of VW, which completely blindsided the hedge funds who were betting against the stock. This forced one of the biggest short squeezes in financial history, sending the stock to the moon.
Now, in a wild twist, the VW takeover ultimately failed, but the sheer guts of the attempt cemented Porsche's reputation for being fearless. It also set them up for the modern era, where they're facing their next great challenge: what to do about the electric future. And this slide shows exactly how they're tackling it. While most of the industry was using a 400-volt charging system for their EVs, Porsche went ahead and engineered an 800-volt system. Now, what does that actually mean for you? It means ridiculously fast charging, like 10 to 80% in about 16 minutes, with less heat and better efficiency. It's a classic Porsche move: engineer your way past the competition. You know, when Porsche had its massive IPO in 2022, they did something so Porsche. They didn't just issue a nice round number of shares. No, they issued exactly 911 million. It's just brilliant. It's corporate finance as a branding statement, baking their most iconic product right into their stock ticker. But the road to an all-electric future isn't a straight line. The EV market has cooled off of it recently, so Porsche launched a new program called Push to Pass. It's basically a plan to trim costs and, get this, extend the life of their combustion and hybrid engines into the 2030s. It's another perfect example of them adapting to reality instead of just chasing a trend. So when you zoom out and look at the whole story, you see this pattern. Porsche has survived near bankruptcy, a failed hostile takeover, a global pandemic, you name it. The consistent theme through their entire history isn't just success, it's recovery. It's this incredible ability to face a crisis, adapt, and somehow come out even stronger on the other side. Which leaves us with one final, fascinating question about the future. Can a brand that was defined for decades by the sound, the vibration, the very soul of a combustion engine, can it maintain that soul in a silent electric future? Or will they prove, once again, that the soul of Porsche was never really the engine itself, but the incredible engineering spirit that created it?